So yeah, I didn't really like script any of this. You know, there's some slides that I'll be going over on my story. Obviously, you guys all know me. I'm Nolan. I feel like it is going to be more authentic if I just kind of riff based off of my memory and what I know and basically all that. So, you guys ready? Let's get into it. So, as you know, I'm only 22. I started my business in 2022. So it's been just over 3 years, I believe, a little bit under maybe, around that mark. So we'll start before I started the business. Dude, I can't read that at all. Okay, yeah, so before the program, I worked at a marketing agency for a year, and it wasn't exactly a marketing agency. It was basically like a shipping and handling company that had two guys who did some photos, some video. They taught me a lot around, you know, video in general, but at that time I knew nothing. I like took car photos, and you know, that was kind of like my passion at the time. Met those guys just from networking. Because I did a lot of car shoots before working at this agency, I met them, I believe, some sort of way through like a mutual, and started talking. We had a lunch. They're like, yeah, we are planning on starting our own business, and we want you to, you know, maybe come join the team, and we can show you, like, you know, the ropes of what it takes to, you know, be in a marketing agency. So I worked at this agency, once again, for a year. This is a little picture of me. I don't really take pictures of myself, so I was very proud of this little rig that I had going on here. I did a ton of restaurant shoots. Yeah, that's really all I can say about that photo there. At this time, I didn't know anything. Like, business wasn't, you know, business to me. It was kind of just like, I like taking photos, and now I can get paid like $20 an hour to take photos and videos. So it was really neat to me. And so I worked there for a year, and the reason I left is because my girlfriend, actually, Kaya, she told me, she's like, you got this company, like a client. The client was they basically like helped restaurants. They did the websites, and then they outsourced freelancers. So it was like another connection that I had from doing car photos. And the guy who worked at that other agency, it was like that restaurant person. I helped bring him into that marketing agency that I was working with. And so my girlfriend, she's like, why don't you just do that on your own and get your own clients and not have that middleman? And I was like, wow, I didn't even think of that. That's genius. I could get my own clients and probably make more money. That's awesome. Because we did the math, and they, from the amount of shoots that I was doing, I was probably bringing them in at like $8,000, and my salary was $40K at that place. So I was making, I don't know, like $4,000-ish a month, I believe, around $3,000, $4,000 a month. So they're making more. They're making a lot. And so I cut out the middleman. This was like my business card at the time. I was super happy with this, and I thought I was going to be cool and like quirky and have it be vertical instead of horizontal. So I handed a ton of these out. I don't think I ever really got business off of it, but I was a glorified freelancer, as probably all of us really have felt. I didn't know what real business was. You know, I just made videos. Like, I would go to networking events, kind of like with Rich as well. You know, he talks about going to B&I and stuff like that. Like, it's never really great to do. But you can meet people, shake hands, whatever. But most of them, you know, nothing really happens from it. And that's kind of how it felt. And so at that time, I was fluctuating between $5,000 and $10K a month because I basically took that client that I had with that marketing agency, with the marketing agencies I worked with for about a year. I basically just took that client, went on my own. So then I was making like $5,000 to $10K from the jump of starting the business. So it was like pretty cool. You know, I guess I didn't necessarily start from zero, but yeah, that's where I was. But I fluctuated because I had no consistency. Those shoots were very freelancer driven. So it was like maybe 1 month I had like 30 to 40 restaurant photo shoots or video shoots, and 1 month, and the next month was like 5. So it was way too scary, essentially. No consistent clients. It was just a one-off machine. This was working with some person that I just outreached on Instagram. It was like a kayak company. Did a shoot with them. I think they paid me in kayaks, so I guess that was kind of cool. But obviously it didn't really pay the bills. It was just kind of a neat thing. It still, either way, was cool because being able to get a kayak or just get anything in general, and in turn just making video and doing something I love, I thought that was amazing. So that's what really had my wheels spinning of like, okay, I can make this into like something fun and something cool, and maybe I can make more money from it. So I decided to join 4 coaching programs, as one would. And of course, still at that time, I networked my ass off because this is a photo I took. If you guys know Perspective Academy, he's a guy on YouTube. He's like in the UK. I don't even remember what his actual name is, but he had this academy. It was about like $2,000, and that at the time was like insane for me. It was like probably all of my savings at the time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be a millionaire off of this. So I think I might have went through one module and never touched it again. But it opened my eyes to realizing that I can just buy information and then learn from it, and implement that into my business and just keep scaling from there. So once again, even though I had these coaching programs and I networked, like nothing was still really working. Now when I joined with Ridge, I was at $1,500 a month, and there's a long story that goes with that. It'd be too long to explain. I basically cut off the restaurant company that I was working with and started like take on some of my own clients. And at the end when I joined them, I only had $1,500 a month. It was with one client. He's actually still a client of mine, thankfully. And I had nothing more than that. It was Oberg, yeah. So as many of you probably might feel right now, or if you felt before, is you lack clarity on your offer. You weren't really thinking about fulfillment outside of like you doing everything, because like why, you're not maybe at that level, or it's just like that's not even a thought of yours. It wasn't a thought of mine at that time. And of course too, I had no systems in place. I didn't even really know what systems meant. I've always heard it, but it's like, okay, what's a system? It just felt like one of those things that like that marketers say of like my secret thing over here. It's like, it's not actually real, but yeah, systems, I didn't have any of them. I felt like a fraud because sometimes when working with my clients, I had no idea what I was doing. I still sometimes don't know what I'm doing. And if any of my clients are watching this, you don't know that. But I didn't know what I was doing. I just like doing video. It was like cool that I could get paid. But I'm sure a lot of you feel that right now, which kind of stems into one of the main important things that I think has really driven my business to where it is now is just conviction in yourself. Because even though I lacked and felt like a fraud, I didn't really show that like on the surface. Like deep down I felt that, but on the surface, like if somebody's like, hey, I want to try this or do this, it's like, boom, let's go. Like we're going to crush it. This is going to be amazing. I don't know if that's just like a weird marketer thing in me, but I think it's just kind of like a self-belief of like, I know that I can make something work. Like I'll do the best to my ability, and if it doesn't work, then I tried my best type of thing. Like I'll always put both my feet on the line to try and help something or someone. What did I do to develop that conviction? I don't know if I did anything specifically, and that kind of leads me into another thing of like, there's no, and if you guys listen to Hormozy, I do a lot, wearing his hat. There's no silver bullets. That's literally the biggest thing that I've learned from him. There's no silver bullets. There's only golden BBs. So there's not one magical thing or just like one secret that you're going to learn that's going to change your business around. It's not going to happen. That's just not the case. There's all these little things, whether it's personal like beliefs or if it's what you're doing day to day, things you have in your business that will increase the likelihood of success overall. So I think just conviction in general, just maybe I had it to begin with. I just know that I do everything that I possibly can to make something work. And so the first couple months in the program were the hardest for me. And some of you might feel this way as well. Like it's information overload sometimes. And I think this next slide, I kind of go into that a little bit. Okay, so when I first joined in the program, I was helping online coaches because I had gotten a really good case study with one of my clients who was local to me. He's a sales coach, and I just did organic videos for him. He ran ads essentially, but I made those ads for him. I didn't set it up or anything, but he got banging results, and I was like, yes, that's awesome. All right, I can use that as like a case study. And so I was like, you know what, online coaches is going to be my niche. I know that that's kind of who Ridge targeted. And when I joined in the program, as like you saw, I was like, okay, give me homework. Like, what's my niche? I'll just do whatever. Like I'll make it work. And I know he had experience with that, so I was like, okay, I'll do the same thing. Didn't work really for me at all. I did all the steps necessary, and I don't know if it's just because it just didn't mend well, or just wasn't the vibe, or whatever it was. But nothing. There's like nobody local to me apart from that client who was like that client. Like I guess he was just a unicorn in the area. But overall, this was just definitely the lowest point in my life and in business as a whole. My monthly expenses, everything considered, was 2.5K a month, and I was still only making 1.5, including after starting with Ridge. So it was really scary, and I only had $1,000 left in my savings. So this is what my bank account looked like, and I made sure to take a screenshot because I really wanted to remember this moment. That 277, I believe, pretty much like went out the door immediately after taking the screenshot, and that $1,000, it still sat there, and just looking at it, I was like, I might need to go to a 9-to-5. Like I might have to quit the business. You know, it was a good like 2-year run. Yeah, I gave it all I had, but nothing really worked. And so I just knew like that was my rock bottom, and I think that it's important that you hit that rock bottom at some point, because it allows you to know, just for one, how that feels, but also how to never feel like that again, essentially. And yeah, so you know, as the most depressed I've definitely been overall. It was just overall a hard time, and it was even harder just because everything that I was doing, Ridge was telling me basically what to do. I was working my ass off, doing every single thing, and still wasn't working. So I was like, all right, maybe I'm not cut out for it. You know, I tried. I guess, you know, this isn't, because I also had the thought of like, you know, there's going to be one secret thing that's going to help me scale to the millions. You know, I thought there was a silver bullet, but there's not. There's just golden BBs. And really just came down to a lack of conviction overall. And it was because of the niche of online coaches. You know, I was like, I kept telling myself, I was like, you know, maybe I just got lucky with him. Like, I don't really know, you know, if I feel confident in this niche overall. There's just like a lot of things that I was telling myself that maybe it was just a limiting belief overall, but because of my lack of conviction in that niche and what I was doing, even though I was taking action, the lack of conviction in that action is what caused me to not be successful in that niche. So I did have to tell Ridge. I was like, look, dude, I messaged him. I think you'll see in a second. I sent him a text. I think I voice noted him as well. And I said, look, dude, I can't pay you anymore. You're going to have to kick me out of the group. You know, it's just not going to work. So this was the screenshots from that conversation. As you can, I can't see it. You guys can read it. It says, "Hey, bro, I'm getting a little bit low on funds to be able to afford $297 a week." So that's kind of the stage that I was at. You know, ads, bills. Ridge being, you know, awesome. He said, "No worries, we'll put you on pause." You know, some quick cash campaign, and and I still said, you know, I'll keep putting in that action, and you know, it was really really important for me because I've been through those 4 different masterminds. I thought he was gonna be like, okay, you know, sounds good, man. Like we'll get you situated. It was great working with you. I thought that's kind of how the conversation was gonna go, but it didn't, and I'm glad it didn't because I'm here now. So, and during that time, so this whole period of when I joined the program to about 4-5 months later. I had one message on my board that was just very important overall. So that message, you can feel it. You can see I can still feel it. But that pain of not succeeding and not being able to provide for myself, for my girlfriend, is hard. So luckily, I'm not in that anymore. I was able to close a client, which some of you have probably actually seen the call around that.
And he said that we would be working for 12 months at 10K per month. So I was like, let's go, I'm out of it. We did it. I was overwhelmed with excitement, and then, of course, that only lasted for a month and a half. So we didn't work after that. So, I'd gone down from 1.5 up to around 14, all the way back down to 1.5. So it was still a tough time. I was just inconsistent. This kind of the valley of despair is where I was at, if you know this from Hormozy. I had uninformed optimism, and then, of course, the pessimism, and then the dip. So I was like, okay, I'm going to change stuff. And instead of getting informed optimism, just going to go right back up to uninformed optimism around different offer, different thing. And I was like, okay, I got to stop this. So what I did is I sat down with Ridge. I remember I was at Oberk, about to go do a shoot with him. I either called him or I texted him or something like that. And I was like, look, dude, we need to figure something out. So we did a whole game plan, a whole new offer around service-based businesses, execution on what I needed to do, like everything. And so I started stacking a few clients and got up to about a consistent 10K per month, just from doing the things required, which at the time I started running ads, of course, and I did a ton of outreach, so that was another massive thing. And I had daily non-negotiables. I don't remember what they were specifically, but he gave me a list of daily non-negotiables of what was required to get to that stage. I did that, and I got to that stage, but it didn't happen overnight. Is the most important part. Lots of sacrifice. Again, I work 12+ hour days. I still kind of do. Sacrificing time away from my girlfriend and family just to figure out how to get things rolling and just stay afloat as a whole. At this stage, once again, it wasn't great. So I was rude, I was really easily aggravated, I was just not fun to be around, and I was just worried about failing again, ultimately, of where I was at before. And the difference between where I'm at now and where I was is really nothing as a whole. I just always took the action, and that's the most important thing, is that no matter what it is, or what it, in general, I did that shit the same day. If Ridge told me to do something, all right, done. It's going to be done today. I hear a lot of people, either in this group or just in general in life, they say oh yeah, I'll get to that, maybe tomorrow. Oh, I'll get to that tomorrow. I got stuff going on today. Basically, which is you saying that this isn't a priority. It's not priority to scale. Of course, unless something very emergent is happening. But if you know one thing that you can do that'll help move the needle forward faster in your business or in your life, why wouldn't you do it that same day, that same hour, or immediately after that call? And that's kind of my mentality behind it, is that as long as I'm taking quick, fast action that's direct in the very focused overall, focused action, not just randomly doing shit, but very focused action on where I wanted to go. I think that's one of the main drivers of what's allowed me to scale very quickly. And that there's another thing in here that I wanted to. So with that fast action is, I was implementing while I was still learning. So a lot of people, they like to learn and just maybe you're jumping on the group calls, maybe you're going through the program, and then analysis paralysis. You don't really know okay, should I do this thing? Well, maybe I'll do this thing, and then there goes a day of you thinking what to do. Then the next day it's okay, I'll start on this. You do a little bit of it, and then you remember that there's this over here. It's okay, let me start on this. We'll start scaling both of them up. There's no perfect time to do the right thing. It's important that you learn and then immediately implement. Learn, implement, rather than just learning and then trying to implement and then going back to learning because your implementation didn't work. That's not the right way to do it. And also, it's just that I didn't give up, no matter how hard it got. As you saw, it was really hard during that other time, and I didn't give up because I believed in myself. I had that self-conviction, and I knew, there's other successful people, and as Rich said, I'm nobody special. I know that nobody else is more special than me. We all have the same 24 hours, so they're just prioritizing different things, and I knew that was what I needed to understand, is that priority and that action taking, those two things combined is what equates success overall. Because if you're saying yes to everything, then you're saying no to basically the future that you want, if that makes sense, around the decisions that you're making. And I wanted it bad, and I believe that's why I earned it. And along that process too is trying to be as unselfish as possible as I could. Hopefully it shows that I try and be as much of a support, in this group and just in general, because I know what that hard time was like, and it's not easy. So I try to, on top of what Ridge's advice and Ocean and everybody else, like I try to be that person as well, just because like if I can give even a nugget of information around something I did that worked, whether it's an ad script or just like a headline, just like steal anything that I got going on, because it's allowed me to be able to grow, and it's just like my token of appreciation, I guess. So so yeah, this will soon say ROAS. Ridge and I, we set the goal when I went in person with him. It was in November, was it December? I told him, I was like, look, I'm getting in, at the time I wanted an M4, but then I did more research because I was like, okay, maybe I can actually get this car, so let me like figure out which one I want the best. So this is the one I came with. My favorite color is orange, so it's kind of a perfect match made in heaven. I'll be honest, when I told Ridge that I wanted that car, I didn't think I was going to get it. Just because even the amount I'm making right now and the amount needed to be able to like afford this, it's insane, honestly. For me being 22, like it just doesn't feel real. It's, as Hermosi says in the game, business is literally just a game of like inputs and outputs. So I take that in my head and know like as long as I'm doing these outputs, these inputs, this output is going to happen. So I just do as much as possible of this over here, all the inputs, to equate to the output. And before going forward, I just want to see if there's anything else. So, and another big thing too, around scaling that I've learned, is to not solve problems until they exist. And that's something I learned from Rich specifically, is because you're going to just be in a giant state of analysis paralysis, which once again, is kind of how you might feel when you first join in the program, because there's like just modules after modules of everything that you can do to scale a business. But you basically, what I did to be able to figure out what I needed to do and not solve a problem before it comes to fruition is basically like, what do I need to equate that problem? So right now, my problem is fulfillment. So it's like, okay, what does that mean? So it means I need to have way too many clients that I can't fulfill on them. So, okay, that's my goal right there, is to get too many clients. Now, how do I do that? Then you keep backstepping from that to equate that, and then you get to your goal, and then you have that next bottleneck, and then you just keep scaling from there. Is essentially how I think. You just backstep it. And another big thing with that as well is that winners never don't do the basics. So no matter the scale I get to, I'm always going to call within 3 to 5 minutes, all my leads. If I have daily non-negotiables, I'm going to do them regardless. It doesn't matter what scale I'm at. Sales script, I'm going to follow that every single time. If it's working, I'm going to do it. It's really important to always do what's required. And when you want to start getting creative and maybe trying out other things, you can do that. But winners never don't do the basics. And you have to be obsessed with it too. This was January. That's my revenue for the month, and then this is actually 62 now. This was for February. So from 1,500 a month to about 62,000 revenue generated.
Real quick, that's not like contracted revenue. Like that's cash.
That's front-end cash. Yeah. And so once again, I'm not special. The only way that you can ensure success is just don't fucking quit. That's my bank account now.
Yes, sir.
You guys know me, I'm not a big fan of like woo-woo motivational stuff. It's why like I have like maybe one mindset training in the program, because I think motivational speakers and all that, I think it's kind of bullshit. But because most of it's repetitive. There's this one video though, and this ties into what Nolan was talking about, so I think it's relevant. There's this one video that I used to watch when I was, a few years younger, and I would watch it like damn near every morning. The video probably has 20 million views. Half them are me on YouTube. And it was just this motivational video, but the story was so good. It was a story of like this guru and this dude that wanted to learn how to make a lot of money, and he took him out to the ocean. Have you guys seen that video? No one talk? Okay, cool. Long story short, this dude reaches out to this guru, and he's like, hey man, I want to learn how to make a lot of money. He's like, okay. Like seriously, like you actually want to learn how to make a lot of money? He's like, yep, I'll do whatever it takes. He's like, okay, cool. Do me a favor, show up in athletic clothes at the beach at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we'll see. He's like, okay. So he shows up. He's all prepared. He's got on, athletic shorts. He brought some like cones and stuff to do some drills. Maybe it's like some physical. He doesn't know what he has in store for him, but he told him to show up in workout clothes. He's like, maybe he's gonna teach me some lessons, kind of wax on, wax off, Karate Kid type of thing. And so he shows up, and the guru's nowhere to be found. He's like, where's this dude at? He rolls in, and he's wearing a suit. And he's like, what's this dude doing? Why is he in a suit? So he walks up, and he's like, hey, bro, drop all your stuff. Walk out into the ocean with me. And he's like, what? He's like, why are we walking in the ocean? He's like, just walk with me. He walks out into the ocean. He's like, how badly do you want to be successful? He's like, real bad. Like, scale from 1 to 10. 7. He's like, can't do that. He's like 10. I want to be successful. He's like, okay, let's go a little further. They keep walking out the ocean. He's like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, keep coming. So he goes out. Water's about right here. He's like, how badly do you want to be successful? He's like, I want it, dude. Before he can finish his sentence, he shoves his head underwater. And he holds his head underwater. This dude's squirming. He's freaking out. Right before he's about to pass out, he brings him back up. And he's like, until you want to be successful as badly as you need to breathe, then you'll be successful. Like, dude, Nolan didn't give himself a choice. He's like, I have no choice but to do this thing. It has to happen. It's not I really want it badly. And I think about that all the time. And like, I would watch that video every morning, and I was like, why do I need this? Like, why is it so important to me? And if I ask a lot of you guys, how badly do you want to be successful, whatever that definition is, a lot of you probably respond with 10 out of 10. The reality is, most of you are probably at like a 5 or a 4, right? It's like when you take personality tests and you're like, I'm this type of person, when in reality you're not, you just want to be. So you say that you are, but you're actually a different type of personality. So yeah, something to think about. Like it's grueling, it's brutal. And this program, the whole reason we're here is to fast track you guys there, but at the end of the day, it's not just gonna come easy. So anyway, wanted to share that. But what'd you guys think? Was that valuable? Good use of time? Okay, Mitchell's up next. I'll be doing one on Sunday. That one's gonna be really cool. I think this was a good macro level principle, hear from someone in the program. Mitchell's also gonna kind of tell his story about building his agency. And then mine's gonna be really tactical. I've got 360 slides, so make sure you guys are ready to take notes. It's very tactics based. It's really good stuff. At least I think so. So we'll see. Any questions? Anybody have questions for Nolan? You open up Q&A maybe?
Yeah.
All right, get back up there. Here you go.
I guess it's more of a tactical question, but was there a certain metric that you kind of looked at and you said that metric needs to be better?
Can we get him a mic to send it in the video too, or at least repeat the question?
Or read it.
Okay, so when you say a certain metric that I looked at to judge like success, you mean like an ads or?
No. It's like because when you went from 1,500 to whatever your MRR is now, like is there a metric that you're like, oh, this needs to change for sure?
Yeah. So the thing that I knew needed to change from 1,500 to where I'm at now at 60 is lead flow ultimately, conversations, because you can't really judge anything in your business. Like all the numbers. All the back-end numbers really just stem to how many conversations you're having on the front end, even like your cost per lead, because that equates to conversations, all that type of stuff. So focus on that. Like if you guys are, I think this past month I only spent like I spent 2,500 on ads, and I think I had, I don't know, like 60 leads or so, and I maybe had like 30, 40 conversations. So I know 40 conversations equates X outcome based off my numbers.
So if I increase conversations, that should in turn increase output.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions now that I'm up here?
So one lie that I know I'm believing when I hear you talk is I'm solving problems that don't exist, and I feel like I'm working because I'm using so much energy solving all these things that are not real.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of me is like, well, maybe Nolan's personality is just predisposed to action, or he's got more confidence than I do naturally.
I didn't though. That's the thing. I like in high school.
Yeah.
You know, I believed that I was introvert, you know, insecure, all that type of stuff. But if you just have to reframe it, and it's easy to say, oh, reframe how you're thinking, but it basically like you are what you do essentially. So if you take action, you're an action taker. If you don't, you're not. And you know, if you don't talk to people and you want to be shy in a corner, then you're going to be introverted. Obviously, it's like deeper down to that, but that's kind of how I see it. Of like, if I want to be extroverted, I'm going to have to be uncomfortable and talk to people, and that equates for like any trait that I want. So for action taking, to be an action taker, it's in the name, take action. So that's what I do.
We've all said we're going to get ahead of problems before they become a problem.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing for me that Ridge said, because I mean, I thought when I think of like, you know, when I said my goal is 50K a month, it's like, okay, what are all the things that are gonna go wrong, you know?
Same, yeah.
But you have to like, it's hard. You have to eliminate that from your mind. You just have to think, what is the input I need to do to equate output, and not even think about any hurdles that are gonna happen, because if you start to try and solve those hurdles, different hurdles are gonna come into place.
Do you think that stems from a fear of solving the actual problem, of occupying yourself from solving things that are?
Yeah.
Because you might be faced with the reality of.
That is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's what is how you might be feeling, of like you feel like you're really busy, but you're subconsciously just like making yourself do busy work that isn't actually needle moving.
Yeah, for sure.
Mentally exhausted.
What are your non-negotiables?
Spend money on ads. No, I think at that time, like now I don't really necessarily have a set non-negotiable. Mine is basically just don't turn off ads. Of course, this weekend I turn off my ads just because I can't actually take calls and stuff like that. But when I get back, and pretty much the rest of this year, it's going to keep ads on no matter what. Like even if I'm stressed over mine with clients, I have all these other issues, like I'm keeping my ads on and I'm still going to do the thing because that's like the lifeblood of my business. So that's kind of a non-negotiable now. Before though, it was sending 50 cold DMs a day myself. It was emailing 25 different businesses in the area, and keep in mind, none of it actually worked out for me. But I still did it, you know, as a non-negotiable. I have to do it. It's like, even though, what's that?
Build discipline.
Yeah, build discipline, which is another big thing. Is like, I wasn't motivated to send emails, you know, that shit sucks. But I still did it because at the time I didn't have money for ads. And I knew I had to get leads. I had to have conversations. So there's only so many ways that you can get in touch with people and have people know about you. It's by saying, hey, I'm right here, you know, be you interested in this? So that was kind of my non-negotiables. And it wasn't just business related either. It was basically like making sure that I'm active for at least like 30 minutes throughout the day. Just like little stuff like that. Very often at that time I like didn't eat a lot because it was just like, you know, I was just like focused on work. Even now it's like I sometimes have to remember to eat, but it was like make sure I have like a good meal throughout the day to ensure that I'm being fed, like shit like that. And you can set it yourself. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you feel you need to equate outcome.